On October the 2nd, Brazilians go to the polls in the first round of presidential elections. The leading contender is the former leader, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. He first came to power 20 years ago and was once the most popular politician in the world, but corruption scandals tainted his legacy. Our South America correspondent Katie Watson starts her report from Manaus in the middle of the Amazon.
The press pack arrived and found Lula in the middle of the rainforest. The Amazon's risen to the top of the political agenda. A wise move, given that Lula's running against a man who's accused of destroying it.
The planet needs us to pay special attention. We need to look after our forest, our fauna, our water. But most of all, we need to look after our people.
20 years ago, Lula came to power promising to be a new kind of president. One who looked out for the poor in this deeply unequal country. With booming commodity prices, he had money to spend, and he used it to lift millions out of poverty. But that legacy was eroded as his party, and Lula himself, was hit by corruption scandals and a prison sentence. The charges against him may have been dropped, but people are divided. Some still see him as the saviour of Brazil, others merely a corrupt politician. But he didn't respond to that when I asked him how he'd win over his critics. Instead, he wanted to talk about crime in the Amazon.
The murders of Dom Phillips and Bruno Pereira can never be repeated. Brazil needs to be transformed into a civilized country, which is why I am convinced that we need to change Brazil. And changing Brazil means having a government that assumes responsibility for really caring for people.
24-year-old Carol wants change more than anything. She and her 3 little kids have no working sewers, unreliable power, and live in this sea of rubbish. Born here, Carol knows nothing else, although she does know who she's going to vote for.
I'm going to vote for Lula because under him, everything was easier. But I don't know if coming back things will improve.
The sun's set, but the hope hasn't faded. The crowd here is excited to see their candidate.
I am crazy for Lula. Brazil needs him because we are in decay. When he was president before, Brazil was in the same situation. It was devastated. And we think he can do the same thing. Our hope never dies.
There are people of all ages here. Those who voted for Lula 20 years ago and those who are voting for him for the very first time this year. It's the same politician. And if Lula wins, he'll be the president of a very different Brazil.
Out with Bolsonaro, the crowd chants. 4 years of a far-right president, and people here want change. But the country is divided, and the future of Brazil uncertain. Katie Watson, BBC News in Manaus.